Hey, this is Dave Pryor. Welcome to Agile 2019. We're here in the Leading Agile booth. Last one of the day.
Nice.
Best one of the day.
Best one of the day.
Christina Hartikainen is here. You are the chair of the conference.
Yes, I am.
Agile 2019. There's a lot of new stuff going on this year, and I want to talk about that. But before we talk about that, I want to introduce our special guest, who unfortunately we didn't have a small microphone for.
No, we didn't. And she doesn't talk too much, but she does love having adventures.
Okay.
So this year is Tiny Tamsin.
Okay.
Tiny Tamsin is here with us at the conference because one of our tractors this year, Tamsin Mitchell, was unable to attend the event.
Okay.
And I felt it was really important that she be here in spirit. And so I made this Tiny Tamsin doll, and she has been passed around to like various track chairs, various participants at the conference to take her on adventures. We've got a series of photos of the things that she's been up to
awesome.
that we've been sharing with Tamsin so that she could be a part of the event with us.
That's great. That's awesome. Okay. So what kind of things are going on here? Well, first of all, before we talk about the new stuff, how many people come to this conference?
So this year we've got over 2,400 people here at the conference. We cap it about 2,500 because that's all the facility can hold, right? They're from all over the world. It's amazing to just meet all of these different people with these different experiences and different backgrounds. So it's really cool.
Now, I always tell people that this is literally the biggest Agile event on the planet. That's correct, isn't it?
As far as I know, it is.
Yeah, unless there's a secret hidden Agile event somewhere.
Yeah, when you think about it, there's over 300 speakers.
Yeah.
So 289 speaking slots.
And how many people apply for those?
There were over 2,000 submissions this year that we had to weed through to find just the very, very best.
So for all the people that get upset that they don't get accepted, there's just too damn many.
There was so
and
much
they're all
to look
good.
at.
They're all really good.
Yeah. There was so much to do and so many to look at that we just kind of went, what do we even do? How do we make sure that we're putting on the best content we can for the folks here? So we looked a lot at, what are people interested in? What are they learning about? What are they experimenting with? And that's where we developed these additional experiments this year.
Okay.
Because we felt it was really important to bring those to our community.
Okay. And along those lines, as a nice little segue, let's talk about self-care, because that's a new track here.
That is.
And I'm super excited that you guys have it. I think it's awesome.
It has been amazing. So I've actually spent 3 of the sessions that I've got to attend out of 5 on the self-care track.
60% of your time.
It is there. And it's been just an amazing experiment. And we realized that the people in our community do so much to care for others, and they take on so much in terms of how they deal with people and the emotions and the responses that they have to give, that they're not always taking care of themselves. And giving them this opportunity and this space here at an event like this, which is exhausting.
Exhausting in every possible way.
Every way.
It is awesome, though.
Yeah, it's going to fill your brain. It's going to fill your heart. It's going to tire your body. And so we gave this space to the self-care track for people to come in and learn about mindfulness, meditation, about how do you write letters from your mind to your body and your body back to your mind again. And we've even brought in, there was one I went to today that was all about analyzing the data that your activity tracker collects about you to understand where you're in periods of stress.
That's great.
So really cool stuff in there.
That's very cool. I'm excited to have that. I also wanted to ask you about the technical skills stuff, because that's a big event here as well, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so what we brought in this year, again, is another experimental track, was we brought in those coaching technical skills for less technical coaches. Because we realized that we've got so many great coaches in this community, but not all of them have that super strong technical background. And so then they're going in and trying to teach things like, or coach things like mob programming and TDD. And how do they do that?
Yeah, like I couldn't do that. I mean, I've done mob programming once. It was amazing, but I could never teach developers how to do that.
Right, and so we've brought in people.
Or I wouldn't feel confident
doing it. So we've brought in people that are technical experts to explain how you can teach and coach these skills. And what really struck me, I was talking with Llewellyn Falco, who's the track chair for that, and he said they did a definition session early on in the week, and one of the things that someone in the room asked them to define was compile. And that was just so moving and so insightful for him that those are the people that we're reaching with this track.
Yeah, I had an experience recently where somebody asked me to explain what an anti-pattern was.
Right.
And I have found in every class since, like, if I don't explain it, they don't know what it is. Which I would just take it for granted. And I'm not even technical on it.
Exactly. And you're expecting those people to be able to engage with their teams and speak with them.
Yeah, and it's hard. And you feel, I mean, from my own background, I always feel a little bit like I'm scared to talk. I don't want to, it's like that imposter syndrome thing. And it's the only place it creeps in because they don't have the technical background.
Right.
So I think it's great that you're providing support there. There's obviously a lot of government stuff going on.
Right, back in DC, right?
Yeah.
It's a hotbed for the government track. It was really popular the last time that we were here, so it just made sense to bring it back to the event since we were back in DC. The interesting thing about it this year is we've got content from international government speakers, not just American
DC,
and not just DC speakers, but we've had people from European countries come in to submit about their government experiences. And that's just fantastic that we could reach that market.
Cool. And the keynotes?
Oh my gosh, the keynotes. So those were all... The keynotes, honestly, they were all about me.
Okay. Well, so I'm in the middle of Chris's book, and I'm in the middle of Lynn.
Lynn,
I'm interviewing her tomorrow,
today.
and I'm interviewing Portia tomorrow.
Yes.
So how did you pick these people? What about them? What drew you to them?
Well, what happened was when I was working on this conference early in the fall, I was also working on another event, full-time job, mom, all of those things, right? And I was saying, how do I balance this? How do I get all of this stuff done? And that's how I found Chris. Was I was looking at productivity folks, and I came across his year of productivity experiment. Bought his book, just inhaled the book. Got the second one, inhaled that too, and then started watched the TED Talk, and I said, this is a pretty cool guy. And I think if I'm struggling with this, there are other people out there struggling with this. And I think that this is a really good message. And so it was really nice and easy to bring him in.
It also kind of they all kind of speak to the self-care.
They all speak to self-care. Lynn especially, we've been trying to bring Lynn in for the last couple of years, and it just didn't work with timing and with the other options. And then it came together this year just so perfectly.
I don't think you should use that word.
Well, all right.
Since she is battling, her life is battling perfection.
It came in perfectly-ish. Because it came around the release of her ish book, which tied in so wonderfully with the self-care track and with the tone I wanted to set for the event, which was warm and welcoming and really being kind and caring for yourself.
Do you think that is, there's sort of like trends that go through this community? Like for a while it was about value and then safety. Do you think that self-care is sort of an emerging thing that we're all going to be having to focus on so that we can care for others? We got to learn how to take better care of ourselves.
Absolutely it is, because if we want to be able to provide those safe places for other people, we can't do that if we're not centered and grounded ourselves.
And what about Portia?
Portia, I wanted, for the end of the week, I wanted a really light, hopeful, playful kind of message, and it just made sense to bring in someone who is a self-described playfulness expert. She was actually a recommendation to me by Emma, who's on our program team. She said, you should really look at Portia and her stuff. And I looked at one of the videos of her sessions, and she started it off with people up doing head and shoulders, knees and toes. And I said, that's it. That's the thing. I actually managed to bring all three of them together on a call, and they immediately started riffing off of each other.
That's cool.
And that's when I knew I had just a great slate together.
So they synced up sort of what they were messaging and things like that?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so I had each of them pitch, tell us like the 20-second pitch of your talk or the 2-minute pitch of your talk. And immediately it was like, I see how that fits in with what I'm talking about. That fits with what I'm talking about.
That's awesome.
And I also love that all of them are here the entire week.
That's great.
Right, so they all came in on Sunday. They've spent the whole week with us. They've been out going to sessions and signing their books and interacting with people. It's just been amazing.
Excellent. So one of the things that happens in all my classes when I teach is I always talk to folks about how important it is to volunteer. They all know how to get jobs, and I haven't interviewed for a job in 15 years, so I don't know, but the reason I haven't had to is because I volunteer. I've been doing that for a really long time, and I always tell people that you put in a lot of time, but you get back tenfold what you bring to the community.
For sure.
A lot of them want to know how they can get involved. I had people last week ask me if they could just show up and volunteer, which is only funny because how many people try to do that every year?
Oh my goodness, there's always folks that show up and just say, hey, I'd like to volunteer, or going, well, we've been working on the volunteer group since January. Right, for this conference in August. When we come in and we look at the hotel and we pick up the rooms and we look at the floor plans, we start then deciding about how many volunteers we need for our purple shirts on the floor, who are amazing. And then there's two ladies this year. They've coordinated all of the purple shirts for us.
Okay.
And they just do a fantastic job. In terms of the folks that want to get involved as reviewers or track chairs and start working their way through building the program, we've actually got a link up. I don't know it off the top of my head, but we do have
they can go to the Agile Alliance
They can
site
go to the Agile Alliance site to find a way to get involved. It's also included in the newsletter and the email from the Agile Alliance, usually in October, that says that we're looking for reviewers for the next year's conference. The commitment usually starts in November, December, and then it'll carry forward into about March because that's sort of how our submission system flow happens.
Yeah. I know there's other things they can volunteer for too at the Alliance, right?
Oh, for sure. There's all of the initiatives that they can get involved in. I actually just came from the Agile Alliance members meeting where we were going through the list of initiatives. People can also propose their own initiatives. If they've got something that they think is incredibly valuable to the community that isn't there already, they can come in and propose an initiative to get that started.
Cool. This is great. I know you're super busy, but I appreciate you taking time to talk about this.
Yeah, no problem.
So if you're not here right now, hopefully you're watching all these videos to get a sense of what's going on, but you can always come next year. And there's other events all throughout the year. It's not just now.
It's not just this conference. The Agile Alliance supports and works with conferences in a number of different cities, but we actually again just went through this whole list of the initiatives for Agile Brazil coming up in September, with XP in Copenhagen next spring, Deliver Agile in April, May kind of timeframe of next year. And then, of course, this event is back in Orlando in July of 2020.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
No problem, Dave.